The media is taking it really easy on him. They really
Right.
are. I
But
mean, and
he's doing an interview with somebody.
I know, and you look at it. So he had the back door. I think Reuters reported on that. The back door to cook the books. He was doing this Ponzi scam technique between Alameda Research and FTX. He was obviously lying to everyone across the board, and now it's you see the Wall Street Journal that's coming out with articles of his plan to save the world went up in flames. Well, no, he was a fraudster to begin with. The thing that's interesting to me with frauds like that is I don't really believe that he started out with the idea that he was going to commit a crime. So, and if you think about it, most cyber criminals, like a career cyber criminal, and now there are millions of them spread across the planet, but a career cyber criminal, we start from ground zero and make sure all of our ducks are in a row. That we have our operational security, that we're anonymous, that we have all the tools and everything that we need, any stolen PII credentials, what have you. And then we attack, we test, we attack, withdraw funds. Most people don't do it like that. And that's typically how someone is caught. You take SBF, Friedman, or whatever, Sam Bankman Fried, or whatever his name is. You take him. I don't think that he really planned on breaking the law to begin with, but I think that it dovetailed into that pretty quickly. Once you start hitting crypto winter, your your figures are not going to match as they should. So you've got to start cooking some books. But as I say that, you have to also realize that he had that back door the entire time that Reuters was talking about. So was it pre-planned? I don't know. I think that my view of cyber criminals these days, when I was a cyber criminal, you had to understand every single dynamic of the crime that you were committing. Everything. You had to understand the security of the target. You had to understand your operational security, how to remain anonymous. You had to know how to launder money. You had to know everything across the board. These days, the sophistication is not in the criminal, it's in the platform itself. You have cybercrime as a service these days. So most products and services are off the shelf. Criminal can come in, it's basically plug and play. Someone comes in, they want to make money, they buy an off the shelf service, they buy a tutorial, they take a live instruction class, what have you, and it will teach you or train you and provide everything that you need to be successful at that one specific type of crime. That's the way cybercrime is going right now, is the dumbing down. That's a nice term for it. The dumbing down of cyber criminals, from those sophisticated players into basically the idiots that are out there.
Well, when you watch him, you feel like he's a dunce. And when you watch that video of him and he explains how he made his first billion or whatever, you just kind of feel like, do you feel like he's a pawn? Do you think there's someone smarter behind FTX who wanted to use FTX for the funding of Ukraine, going back to Act Blue? Or do you think he really just is an idiot, a useful idiot that wrong place, wrong time?
Well, I think that he's definitely going to be that useful idiot for a lot of different organizations and governments by the end of it. I absolutely believe that. I don't think that what you see is, in order to be successful at crime, it really boils down to willingness. What are you willing to do? All right. Most people would not ever be willing to do anything that Sam Fried did. All right. Ever. But he was. Now that doesn't it doesn't take a genius to do this stuff. You just have to be willing to try it. All right. So and as long as the numbers were going up in the crypto world, nobody was ever going to be the wiser. The problem was the numbers started to go down all of a sudden. So that becomes an issue. I think that's an interesting question. I think that with FTX, that will absolutely be used for a springboard for regulation. I don't see any way that it's not, and I think that we're going to have a lot of overreach on regulation. I'm sure you've seen the interviews, or the House sessions and everything, where you've got the government people with the blank faces that have no idea what the hell they're talking about, and you got the aide that's whispering in their ear trying to explain it. They're like, those are the idiots that are going to make regulations for us. So we are doomed.
Yeah, our legislation is old and our technology is new,
Yeah.
and it's hard. Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah.
In the legal world, when judges have to make decisions on tech regulation, for instance, and they barely know how to operate their own iPhone, you
It's
know?
pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the problem we've got with privacy. We've got that with crypto. We've got our country's got a lot of problems with tech, privacy, and how to navigate these things because the people who are in charge have no clue what any of that is.
Um, Someone is asking, with that much money involved, how did they not follow the money? So how were they not? Yeah.
Well, again, with Sam Freed, he had that back door that allowed him to cook the books, so he could adjust those figures so nothing looked out of turn whatsoever. At the same time, understand that with FTX, it's not just FTX and Alameda. It's 156 other companies that are all under that FTX umbrella. So it's untelling how big this fraud extends. Not only that, but we had the news came out just the other day that FTX had bought into a bank in rural Iowa or some crap like that. That bank had only had 3 employees. They gave $11.5 million in funding to that bank. The bank changed its name to Moonstone Capital or some crap like that. And the question is first, how on earth did a crypto company buy a bank?
Right.
That should have never happened. Never
Right.
happened.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then why? Why? Are you laundering money through there? What are you doing through there? So we've got, I think there's a reason that I think there's several reasons that Sam Freed has not been arrested yet. Number one is it's going to be a very complicated case. Number two is he's given a lot of money to a lot of people. There's he's done a lot of virtue signaling. And I think that people are taking that seriously. I mean, we've not seen any on either side of the political fence. We've not seen anyone say, I'm going to give back this fraudulent money that Sam Freed sent me. So
that is true. That is true. Yeah. I'd like for it's hard because it's when politicians get their money, they almost immediately spend it on campaign ads.
right.
So they already spent that money on the ads for the midterms that had already come and gone. So it's like, do you feel like this has only been exposed after the midterms for a reason? Do you think that the government had known about this issue for a while but allowed it to go on?
Well, I mean, the flags were there, right? I mean, back in June, we had a group that tried to tell, was it Bloomberg? It was Bloomberg. They tried to tell Bloomberg that, hey, there's problems at FTX. And Bloomberg said, hey, we don't want to hear it. It's bad for business. I mean, that's a problem. That's a problem. There was an article out today or yesterday, there was an article out talking about how, because Sam Freed is no longer giving money to media, how some of these media are in a black hole all of a sudden. Where's our funding coming from? So you get someone that's spread that kind of money around, and you really don't want to hammer that guy. And that's a big issue because this crypto problem is way past just FTX. I mean, how big does this go?